Good morning, everybody. My name is Nishant. Until recently, I never thought much about sustainability. Over the few years, though, I've been hearing this term being used almost everywhere in school, on TV, on packaging. I've seen it, I've experienced it. And that made me think, what about before? Before sustainability had a name or meaning, before it became a trend or a movement. There was no fancy technology, no label saying eco friendly, and yet nothing was wasted. About 2 weeks ago, my mom and I went grocery shopping, and the veggies and meat that she was picking up had some words printed on the packaging. Just like any normal, curious 13-year-old, that made me think, why? So I asked my mom this, and she told me it contained synthetic plastic, which was artificial. And if the groceries were left inside the package too long, the microplastics would get on it and ruin the food. That honestly shocked me. So, why would they use it in the first place? My mom told me it wasn't always like this from the first. People apparently carried the groceries in plastic bags. I mean, cloth bags or stitched cloth bags. So, if the cloth bags stored, they would either stitch it back up. This way, they were reusable, safe, and would not harm the environment. And I thought to, summarize this and explain it to my mom. But with my confusing grammar, I mistakenly gave a long explanation for something so small. My mom smiled and said, "That is sustainability." Then my dad called us for something, and the conversation stopped. But it didn't stop in my mind. Later on at the billing counter, my mom asked for my dad's phone to pay for the groceries. But they said they only accept cash, so I brought his wallet instead. That also made me wonder, what did people do those times when there was no money? I inquired about it to my mom. She explained about the barter system. When people had no money, they would exchange what they have for what they need. This way, no money, no waste, and both people benefited. Later on that evening, I was just eating a banana peel. So I just casually threw the leftovers on the floor like it was nothing. But then my mom stopped me, telling me, "You can't put that on the road. That's supposed to go in the compost bin." So I picked it up and put it in the compost bin. That made me think, what did people do before compost bins existed? I checked about it with my mom in the car. She told me that when people did not have compost bins, what they would do is, if something tore, they would stitch it back up. And if they have leftover food scraps like banana peels and apple cores, they would bury this in the soil and it would return back to the earth to let plants grow. Nothing was wasted. Everything had a purpose. Then we reached home after a 1 hour conversation and nothing interestingly happened that day. But one thing stayed in my mind till now, and that was, if people lived like that back then why not now? I'm not insisting that we go backwards. I'm saying, why don't we go forwards with wisdom? Why don't we ask ourselves every single day, do I need this? Can this be reused? Can I waste a little less today? And now I see people use reusable bags, planting windmills, wind turbines, and solar power panels. Here's an interesting fact: the Kochi International Airport is completely powered by solar energy. And now, for me, sustainability isn't a complicated idea. It's a simple question I ask myself every single day. Would my grandparents have done this? And yet, these questions often leads to better answers because long before sustainability was a movement, it was the way of life. Thank you.